Will you tell me how I look? Do I look good? Do I look chubby?
Put that in the video.
Take one.
So how do we do this? Do we rip the Band-Aid off or like slowly dive into it?
I have no idea.
Man, my hair is so long.
You need to get a haircut. I should just go in and...
Look at the scissors. Have you never cut hair before?
No!
And then this part.
Oh my gosh.
This part right here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hope my family's not watching.
Is that too much?
Probably. Look at it in the mirror. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? I think it looks pretty nice.
All right.
Oh.
Much better.
How do we sit?
So we've made a big decision. We are, or have, quit our jobs, putting our house on the market, selling everything, and going to spend the next unknown period of time without having a home base, without owning possessions, more or less, and kind of traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I sound sure? Yeah, it's something that has been kind of on our hearts for a long time. Something that we've always wanted to do, but have been a little too scared to pull the trigger on.
Oh, we're still scared, still terrified.
Yes.
But we have, as a family, committed. We sat the girls down a couple weeks ago, and we've all talked about this as a family for the last 2 to 3 years, I would say.
Yeah.
And at every point, one of us or several of us have said, no, we don't want to do that yet. For the longest time, it's been me. I think Heather was the first to jump on board with the idea, and I was just too attached to this notion of security to be able to leave it all behind and to pursue this dream. And at other times, Alexa was nervous about it, but we've kind of all sat down and come to the conclusion that this is now what we want to do as a family. But we've always had a home base, a home to come back to. The longest period we've ever traveled has been no longer than 8 weeks.
I think it was 7 weeks.
7 weeks. Yeah. Really going back about 2.5 years ago when we traveled Southeast Asia as a family was when we were kind of essentially trial running this notion of becoming full-time vagabonds, nomads, whatever you want to call it. And it's only been now that we are fully committed to pursuing it.
I think for a while for the last few years, we've been kind of trying to live the best of both worlds, if you will, of like have that normal security, but also get to travel. And you know, the last year has been so different for us, I think for everyone, but it's kind of opened our eyes to see that by hanging on to certain things, certain comforts, certain securities, that we're actually missing out on a level of freedom that comes with living a more nomadic and minimalist life. We want to experience this with the girls, especially at their ages right now. Chloe is 5, Alexa's 7. They're old enough that we can have grown-up conversations with them about what we're doing, about why it's hard, about what they miss and how we can help them overcome those things. But yet they're still young enough that they are just so excited for an adventure, and all they want is to be with us. We could do anything probably, and they just want to spend time with us. So I think they're most excited about the time that we will get to be together, because we've always had, you know, work on top of what we're doing. You know, we obviously want to keep making videos, and that is work. We want to keep making videos so that we have memories preserved and so that we can cherish this time. That is a lot of work, but we've always had work on top of that as well. So I think having this season of that's really our only focus is being together as a family and preserving the memories that we're making along the way is gonna be really an incredible experience.
So in your mind, how did this all come about?
How did it come about?
Yeah. What led to the decision in your mind for us doing this?
How far do you want me to go back?
Go back to our first date.
Our first date?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially we went out for coffee and spent hours and hours and hours talking about all the places we want to go in the world, how we wanted to live our lives and travel and experience new cultures. And at that time, I had been to Canada. That was the only place outside of the United States that I'd ever been. And I loved my experience there. Bradey had traveled more. And so for me, in my mind, I was like, this is a dream for me. I don't think I'm ever gonna do it. I probably will like maybe go to Europe once when I'm 65. But that was my dream, because no one I really knew had really ever traveled the way that
we both had the dream
traveled.
of seeing the world more or less in its entirety.
Yeah.
and sacrificing everything in exchange for that dream.
Yeah.
And boldly, as I remember, there was even the discussion of raising kids abroad in that first. I don't know. Maybe I remember
Probably
wrong, but I remember at some point going like, okay, we need to like not be talking about this on a first date. But
that's probably true. That probably is true.
It has been a long journey leading up to this. I can look back at dozens of moments that we can go over some other time. But to me lately, I've been processing through kind of, as I've been calling it, the opportunity cost of security. I've been obsessed with this notion of, you crying?
I mean, I've been crying all the time.
Yeah.
It's been an emotional
Yeah, so I've
year.
I've been obsessed with this notion of security. I think that culturally, as an American, is very ingrained in us, is to pursue security in the entirety of the American dream as it's defined.
Security in things, security in
finding security in possessions and in stability,
making money
and in home ownership.
Yeah.
And those are all fine things to pursue for sure. I'm not trying to come down hard on the pursuit of that at all. And we have pursued that our entire lives. Yeah. But there is a cost associated with that, and you do give up things in exchange for that. Primarily, you give up your time, which time is really our only commodity that we can control. Yeah. And it's that is our most precious commodity. And we've made the decision that the things that you have to give up in exchange for that security, we simply don't want to give up for at least this period of time anymore. Yeah. And perhaps ever. We don't know what the future holds. So what is our plan? What is the
what I like to say is we are big picture planners. We plan like the big things. It's harder for us to like nail down details about what we're doing. But I think right now the plan is subject to change, but right now we're selling everything. We're selling the house.
The sign goes in the yard in a couple of days.
We are like, it's a little much. It's for me, in my mind, I've always been on board with this. You know, I've thought for years, like, I just want to sell everything and live a simple life. But the actual doing it has been so much harder than I could have imagined. So right now, that's the process that we're in. Just ridding ourselves of all the things we've accumulated over the years. We've been married for 11 years, almost 11 years now. We're gonna live in the van at first. That's the plan. We will travel around the United States. We want to head out west. Again, we have no plans of where to go or what to do. Yeah. But
ultimately, like, our heart is overseas. Like, we desperately want to get back to Asia
as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Really, the only thing holding us back from that is the current travel restrictions. So we've been monitoring those like a hawk. We desperately want to get back to the Philippines.
Yeah, for sure.
Want to get back to Indonesia. And really travel the rest of Southeast Asia, Thailand. We want to retour what we did in Southeast Asia. but then also experience new countries, new cultures is where our heart is. So while we're excited to do van life for a bit, the plan is to painfully sell the van at some point, and that'll probably be the hardest thing. The girls love that van because they built it, and we work together truly as a family to build it from scratch. So that's going to be a very challenging thing, much harder for them than selling the house or other things. I think parting with that is going to be very challenging, but we've assured them we can always build another one in the future and build it better, take what we've learned. But for now, the plan currently is to attempt to sell it and to more or less move abroad and for a period of time. Yeah,
and I think that's an important part of the process, because part of what we want to do is not have things holding us back in a sense. So while it would be much more comfortable again to keep the van and store it while we travel abroad and then have a place to come back to,
because that does feel like home.
It does feel like home. It's also the exercise of letting go that I think is something that we're really feeling called into, of like not finding, safety and putting our trust in the things that we have, but really leaning on one another. And in this journey, our goal is to strengthen our family unit, to grow in our relationships with one another, to grow spiritually, to grow in our mental strength and our physical strength. Like, we want to be disciplined in all areas of our lives, focusing on kind of the basics of life. I feel like, over the last few years, we've been kind of on a whirlwind of just working really hard and getting caught up in that lifestyle of busyness. And one thing we really want to do in this next season is to slow down and to live in the moment and focus on what we have right in front of us.
What kind of emotions are going through your mind as we step into this? All of them?
I am such an emotional person.
Pick a few.
Definitely there's some fear going on.
That's a healthy thing to have,
I think it is. As I've been, going through our stuff, and parenting is obviously our number one job. That's a very important focus of ours. It is interesting to me how, at least in American culture, part of being a good parent is hypothetically giving them everything they want.
In the process of getting rid of most of the kids' toys, like, you feel like a terrible parent.
I feel like I'm taking something from them, like, I feel like, and that's not true. Like, they are going through their things. They will keep some of their things, and I'm not going to take anything away from them that they desperately want to keep. Like, they will bring toys with them on the road. They will not be able to keep many, You feel like you're stealing from them.
Yeah, you clearly feel like a terrible parent. And we've had this conversation with them, and we even had a period of a week where we would talk about it in a manner that we were trying to convince them not to do this.
You're gonna have to give up this. You're not gonna see these friends. You're gonna do this and that.
You won't be able to play soccer on your team anymore. You won't be able to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing, and it's an important thing for them to understand, and they, in their best ability, are able to understand and still continue to choose. No, we would rather pursue this. So, and I think that even making this video, I hope will be helpful for them in future years as they look back on this time. Why do we make these videos? Primarily, it started because I have a terrible memory, and our kids were growing up so ridiculously fast, and I would forget all of these little moments, and we would be traveling with them when they were super young. I mean, Alexa learned to walk overseas, and so did
Yeah.
Chloe. I would take pictures, but I wouldn't make videos. And I realized that without the video, I would forget. So selfishly, we started making these videos and started the channel as accountability to my 65-year-old self of when I want to look back and remember these moments, I'll have a plethora of videos to watch and relive. But then also making the videos for the girls, because
I mean, Chloe's only 5. You know, she would not remember our time in Southeast Asia at 3 years old. You know, but now she has that to spark her memory and to help keep that alive in her.
And they do remember as a result of the videos. But then also now that we've done this thing and put ourselves out there, like, we find so much joy in sharing our experiences and sharing other cultures and kind of building this community, and we've loved it. Like, it's just brilliant. Like, it's very rewarding, and like, we love hearing from viewers. We love seeing the comments. We read every single one of them. So if you can leave us a little bit of an encouragement, or make sure to tell us how terrible of parents we are.
I'm sure we'll get some of that, because it is a crazy idea. It is a crazy notion of stepping away from everything you know and starting something new. But I have faith that we'll be better for it. And they'll be better for it.
Yeah, but definitely let us know if we're going to be terrible parents. That's okay. So we are pursuing doubling down on creating content. We haven't been able to create that much content this past season because of various things in life, but we would like to double down and make that our primary job focus. So the plan is to live full-time on the road for the next year at least. That's what we're committing to. We are hoping to stretch our finances as far as possible and hit 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, as long as we can, because this is our life's goal, dream pursuit. In
sharing our story, we have had several people ask us, you know, how can they help, and they want to be supportive. And to that end, we have started a Patreon account. So if you would like to help us along the way, you are welcome to sign up for that and kind of join us along on this journey and help us.
And a huge thank you to those who have been doing that lately. I mean, it just means a lot to us. Your support and people and commenting on the videos, like it honestly does mean a lot to us. So it really kind of helps fuel us along, because it's a lot of work to, as Heather will now tell you.
Mostly on me. When we first got started, Bradey did pretty much everything, all the editing. I didn't even know how to edit, and it wasn't very sustainable. Now I'm taking over the editing. He's doing really most of the shooting and some more other things behind the scenes, but I think we've kind of found a balance of what works for us, and we're excited to continue on in this.
So looking forward, next week our house goes on the market. We are going to more or less move into the van immediately while it's on the market to kind of get out of the house and travel while we wait. There's still a lot of work to do. We're probably about 6 weeks away from fully being detached from everything and hitting the road. But thank you so much to everyone who's been kind of tracking along on our journey. We're excited.
The girls are really excited, we're excited, and we know that while this is gonna be a huge challenge for us, we know that the rewards will be 100% worth it.
Well, we should probably get to work now. Got a lot of stuff to do. All right. Do you know what time it is?
What?
It's midnight, and we're at the airport getting ready to go on an airplane ride.
Again?
Yeah.
And again.
Yeah.
Why?
Because we're gonna go travel.